Today we're going to listen to a story called President's Day. Before we do, I want to look at some words that we're going to see inside of our story. This is the word vote. I want you to say vote. Let's spell it. V-O-T-E. Vote. When you vote, you make a choice and you let others know about it, such as by raising your hand. So people vote for leaders in their country, like adults are able to vote for a different president or people that represent them. And this is the word program. Say program. Let's spell it. P-R-O-G-R-A-M. Program. And a program is a show people put on for others to watch. You can watch a news program or a funny cartoon program on TV. Split. Say split. Let's spell it. S-P-L-I-T. Split. When you split something, you make it have two parts. So you might split a muffin in half, or you might split, for example, this sandwich in half. Stand. Say stand. Let's spell it. S-T-A-N-D. Stand. If things stand, they stay up and they do not fall down. So in our picture, this little boy has made his dominoes stand. Right now they're not falling down, but it looks like he's about to push them over. And then the word on stage. Say on stage. Let's spell it. O-N-S-T-A-G-E. On stage. When you go on stage, you go to the place where actors stand and perform. So in our picture right here, we have these little children, and they are on stage. They look like they're performing some kind of something. And then the last word we're going to look at is the word audience. Say audience. Let's spell it. A-U-D-I-E-N-C-E. Audience. And an audience is the people watching the show. So when you watch a movie, you are the audience. When you watch a play, you are the audience. And these people are the audience to whatever it is that they are watching. All right, so I'm going to switch over to our story. And let's see here. Something that, before we read, I want to talk about is point of view. I want you to think about the point of view that this story is happening. So we usually have 2 points of view. You have what we call a third person point of view, and that person is not in the book. They're telling the story, but they're not in the book. And you might see words like he or she or they. That's how you know it's third person. And if it's a first person, that person who's telling the story is in the book. And you would look for words like I, me, my. So think about whose point of view this story is from. Is it from somebody who's not in the story, third person, or somebody who's in the story, first person? So let's listen to our story, President's Day, and it's by Anne Rockwell, and the pictures are by Lizzie Rockwell.
President's Day is when we celebrate the birthdays of George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. They were both born in February many years ago. They were both very great presidents of our country, the United States of America. Grown-ups vote every 4 years to choose the President of the United States. Each person votes for the person he or she believes will make the best leader. They don't all agree, so whoever gets the most votes becomes president. We decided to put on a President's Day assembly program telling the rest of our school some things we learned about some of our presidents. We worked hard getting ready, painting and cutting, stirring and cooking flour paste, and tearing strips of newspaper for paper mache. Sam, Evan, Sarah, and Michiko wore the mountain of paper mache we made. "Hello, everybody! We are Mount Rushmore," they said all together. The faces of Presidents George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln are carved 60 feet high on our hard granite cliff. Now each of these presidents will tell you about himself. I was George Washington. That's because my birthday is the same as his. I was born on February 22nd, 6 years ago, but George Washington was born more than 200 years ago. "Good morning," I said in a deep voice. "I led the American people when they fought to be free from the King of England. We won, so I was elected the first president of a brand new country called the United States of America." Abraham Lincoln was very, very tall, and Charlie is the tallest kid in our class. "I am the 16th President of the United States," he said. "I kept the United States together when it split in two. I said, 'A house divided against itself cannot stand,' and I meant it. We fought a long war to keep our nation together. That's why it's called the United States of America. United means many stick together like one." Nicholas is a good writer who can always think of just the right word. When he came on stage wearing a red wig with a short pigtail in back, he just sat at a desk, writing with a pen made of a feather. Everyone waited patiently while he scowled and scratched his head, crumpled pieces of paper, and tossed them into the wastebasket. Finally, he cried out, "At last! It's done!" He stood up, bowed to the audience, and said, "Good morning. My name is Thomas Jefferson, third President of the United States. I wrote something called the Declaration of Independence that told why we wanted to be free from England. It's pretty good if I do say so myself." He started to read what he wrote, but suddenly, Jessica came galloping out on a hobby horse. "Good morning," she shouted. "My name is Theodore Roosevelt, but you can call me Teddy. I'm the 26th President of the United States. When I was a kid, I was sick a lot and couldn't go out to play. But when I grew up, I was healthy and strong and loved the outdoors. I wanted a lot of this big, beautiful land to always be wild. That's why we set aside more land to be national parks where plants and animals could always be wild." Pablo and Evelyn came out on stage carrying the long mural we had painted of giant redwood trees, the Grand Canyon, Old Faithful spouting, and animals in the Everglades. The rest of us joined them: Mount Rushmore, George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Thomas Jefferson, and Teddy Roosevelt on his horse. We bowed while everyone in the audience clapped for a long time. Back in the classroom, we had an election. Everyone wrote the name of someone who'd make a good leader on a piece of paper. I wrote Pablo's name because he's smart and never mean. We put each piece of paper in a box. Mrs. Madoff counted the votes. The person whose name appeared most often would win the election. Guess what? I won! Just like George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, Teddy Roosevelt, and today's President of the United States. Now I'm the president of Mrs. Madoff's class. When I grow up, I want to be the first woman president of the United States of America. Wouldn't that be great? After all, I have the same birthday as George Washington.
Okay, I want to go back to this page. We talked about point of view. Third person is someone that's not in the story. And first person is someone that is in the story. I want you to take just a second and decide, was this point of view third person or first person? And then how do you know that? So this story is told in first person. The person telling the story is in the story. It's a character in the story. How did I know that? Well, I saw words like I in there. I saw words, heard words like we. Those are all clues to the point of view that the story is told from. I, we, my, those are all words that tell us it's a first person. That person is in the story.